Hey, welcome everybody to Friday Night at the Crib. It's open mic, so anybody is welcome to join us. I assume we're mostly going to talk about the raid and the raid prizes. And I don't know, it feels like there's been a little bit of shenanigans going on in the last hour. I do have some clarifications we'll talk about as far as the specials that can go with the new thermobaric. There's going to be a change in the update. But I guess I'll start with introducing everybody, and also the link is in the chat in case you'd like to join. From left to right, it's Toxic.
G'day everyone, how are we?
Just Dandy. And the Holsch.
Howdy everyone.
And Magic Mike.
Happy Friday, Pirates.
And this is Hefe. So, how's everybody's raid going? I think it's probably a little bit of a mixed bag from what we heard in the right before the show started. Toxic?
Yeah, no, it's going pretty good. I've got the I'm doing it with the Buccaneers and the Boone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, being in Australia, I didn't start until late last night, so I hit a couple of targets late last night and then this morning. I'm up to about 45 or 46 mil, so I claimed the hull and entered two prizes to get to the hull to the unlock store.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, now I'm going for the new turret and the special.
Okay.
But
and what's
yeah, it's been going pretty.
Are you autoing A sets, or are you going for the more have a different approach?
No, I'm semi-autoing the A sets. What I mean by that is I auto it, but if it does something silly like park in a fire pool or drive through a pea puddle or whatnot, then I'll intervene and put it back on its rightful track.
Okay.
Also, if the ships tend to sometimes one wants to go left and the other one want to go right, so I'll put them back together, that sort of thing. But all in all, I let them auto, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then that's been working pretty good. It was almost map repair. Sometimes I had to go into base and singly repair them, but it was all still under the 5-minute mark. Except for the last 3 or 4 targets that I hit, my Boone got totally smashed.
Yeah. I think we'll get into that. Yeah, because I've run into it. Seems to be like a temporary burp that happened as far as the A set damage. Because it's we'll talk about that a little bit later. Because we were actually in the middle of an experiment, and the numbers turned out quite wonky. Because the first 10 trial hits on an 81 with no crew, and then there was another 5 trial hits with a hammerhead crew on an 81, all on auto. And the second set with the hammerhead crew took 80% more damage than the first set with no crew. And I don't think that's because of the crew. I think that's because in the meantime, they had bumped up the damage by the time the separate replication was put through. So, yeah. And I've had an issue also in the last 90 minutes where I was trying to auto an 81. And I'm like, man, it's been there for a long time. And then I decided to open up the battle, and then I just see it just sitting there getting pounded, not moving at all. And I hadn't even looked at it. It was just sitting there, not moving, in the that far right corner of the 81 target. So, Holtz, how's your raid going?
It's going pretty good. Just autoing A sets like Toxic and you have been. Just mostly on map repair, but a few random intervals of higher damage.
Okay. Cool. And I think Mike's left the room for a little while. We're joined by Father George. Hello, George.
Evening, everybody.
And you're the one that's probably doing something a little bit different than the rest of us from what I can tell from your articles. You're concentrating on autoing the new SSET target, correct?
Yep, autoing the hell out of it.
Okay.
I'm map auto, and I'm not even going into the battles, which actually was fine until today. I had one instance where something happened. The fleet came back dead, and there was one platform left in the far right-hand corner, the top far right-hand corner. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I'm getting like about 10 to 12 sets before I have to go and start repairing the boon, and then from testing, I'm getting some very funky results after the fleet's damaged, and I just repair the boon, and I get anywhere from either 4 to 10 targets done. So
before you need
to repair it again. Yeah.
Repair the boon.
Yeah, and it's weird because like in some instances, yesterday I did yesterday and a little bit today I was doing a bunch of different testing, and I found some really strange things. Like the first time you go out and you auto it, the first hit takes an enormous amount of damage, and then after that it goes down to very little damage to odd amounts of damage to, I mean, it's just strange. There's no consistency whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what we saw with because we have one data set that's got 10 hits on each of the A sets, and there's a huge variance even within that period of time where it's within an individual target. And it didn't appear to be time related when he was doing it originally, but yeah, you would take 2 or 3 times the damage hitting the target on blind auto one time, and then it's rather inconsistent. I don't know what the variable is, considering these are all splash weapons, and they're picking your point that you come in. I guess the only variance would be the accuracy of your sprints and phalanxes.
One of the things that I did notice, because I actually went back and spent some time actually testing this particular aspect out on its own, is I was finding that sometimes when you miss that missile, I don't know if there's 2 different missiles or if it's a random thing for the target where the missiles are different, but there are some instances where you miss the missile, it hits, you get a little bit of damage, and you just keep on going on. And there are some instances where the missile hits and you take very little damage, but when the fire field expires, if you're in the fire field, you take an enormous amount of damage, or if you're moving away from it, you take part of that damage. If you're
maybe it works, like maybe they have a certain mechanism that's similar to the glacial launcher.
I don't know.
Where
I honestly,
where that has increasing debuffs as time progresses.
But the thing is, the same thing happens in the A sets, but because I watch my health bars closely, but sometimes your target, it just doesn't take health, and then sometimes that very first missile that hits, it'll take a chunk. So it's just odd.
And that's the thing that I'm finding is sometimes because I was watching it, and a couple of them I'd miss the missile would hit, the fire field would come up, and I would take a little bit of damage, and the fleet would move on and this and that, and then once in a while it would hit, and you would see just a very slight bit of damage, but then when the fire field expired, you took an enormous amount. Like, I mean, as much as I was taking in a complete hit, one of these missiles would do the damage. So I dubbed them super missiles. I don't know what the mechanism is that produces them. I don't know what the deal is, if they're like, I remember a while back, remember when you would go in and once in a while the targets would have like a regular Kodiak or a super Kodiak or whatever the hell it was. It would have that little doohickey on top of it. Yeah, it was a Savager. It would be one of the ones with those crown thingies that were above it, and I don't know if it's the same type of thing. I don't know if it's just a glitch. I have no idea what's going on, but it's not. I'm not too pleased with what I'm finding, because the first, I'd say maybe 2-3 hours of the raid, it was very consistent. The driving was very consistent. What was happening on the target was very consistent. How many missiles I was shooting down was very consistent. What was happening when those fire fields were laying down was consistent, and then it just started getting wonky around just before dinner yesterday, and then after dinner, there was another twist of wonkiness, and I don't know.
So
I have
you're
a couple of
thinking
them
it's
on.
dinner related?
It might be dinner related. I mean, the targets might have
I'm
gotten
just
hungry.
kidding.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I have a bunch of them on video, and I was going back and looking at it, and I cannot figure out what the deal is. I mean, it got to the point where those missiles were doing so much damage to me, I actually changed my CM build to go to the countermeasure systems because that gave a little bit more accuracy for my phalanxes, and it seemed to help a little bit. Like overall, my average damage went down, but it's still, when it missed, and it was doing some weird procs, man. Some very, very weird things.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's something similar to like the EM. They have a special on these that are similar to the EM charged rails that's giving like plus 300 criticals.
Oh, that might be it. But then the question is, how come it's happening when the fire field expires? Because the damage isn't when the missile hits; it's when the fire field expires. If you're in the field when the fire field expires, you take an insane amount of damage compared to what the rest of them do.
Yeah, see, it's very here and there, because sometimes I can shoot down all the missiles that produce the fire field in one hit. They're all gone. Like not one will land, and then the next time around there'll be like 2 landing, and then then there'll be like all of them landing, and I won't shoot any of them down. It's very hit and miss.
Yeah, and the targets are tuned. I want to say very precisely around time to kill too, because at first I had 2 pandemoniums on each hull to try and mitigate some of the radioactive damage if I ended up getting in those fire fields. And what I found was if I took one off, so I had the original build was a carryover from last month. I hadn't had a chance to put the pandos on, and I initially put one on each and did some tweaking because I had the tokens and everything, and it worked okay. And then when I went up to a second pandemonium and took a gun off of each one, I found that my damage jumped. So significantly. And then when I went back and put another 3 cannons back on the overall fleet, it went back down. So there was a very fine balancing point of time to kill versus your resistances that gave you the best optimal, quote unquote, optimal build. And
that would be fairly difficult to do. I mean, because especially with the data set I saw that Mike populated with the A sets, the amount of variability inside of that would make it very difficult for a player to say, okay, I've improved my build or I've made it worse without hitting it, 10 times. I mean, because otherwise, because like I said, we've seen these huge swings of, taking 3 times the damage on one versus another. I'm just saying, it just seems, even on auto, there's so much variability that it's giving players I would think it would give players a hard time trying to optimize their builds.
And that's the reason I did that test too, to see if I could get any consistency, and it was none.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, George. I was just trying to talk to what you were talking
No,
about. Saying doing what you're trying to do is difficult. Is all I'm
yeah,
saying.
no, and I did a lot of. I mean, I was doing like 5 to 7 sets to get a bearing as to what was going on. But the other thing that I did notice too when I was starting to test crews, and it seems like the building damage crews are not doing anything at all.
Yeah,
I have no idea what the deal is, but I got 0 benefit from them. I did get some benefit from the demo squad and the steelheads, but not as much as I was expecting, which was a little strange given how well they worked last month. So
yeah, I mean, the reason I asked Mike to do the second set with the steelheads is because I had been putting on demo squads, and at least in the A sets, I saw no difference. I was taking as much damage with the demo squad on as I was without a crew. So I stopped. I ran like 3 of them, and then I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm not dealing with this anymore because they're expensive crews relatively, but this is the time to use them though.
Yeah, you know what's really funny is that I got more benefit from the cruise if I map autoed rather than going in on each one. Because generally, there are a couple instances, and I think we've talked about a couple weeks ago, where you get different results if you populate the battle map, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And in this instance, it seems that on average, overall, you get better results if you do not populate the map, except for that little wonky one where I lost the entire fleet. But, out of, I don't even know how many hits I've done now. Well, I can tell you how many I've done. I've done 70 Buccaneers traps so far.
So how can that be that you get a different result when you auto and you don't watch compared to when you auto and you do have a look? How can that be? There shouldn't be any difference because you auto both targets. I don't understand that.
Well, so the way the AI is, right? Like, do you remember back when, I don't even know how many, like there used to be old games where you would be able to pick whether or not you wanted to go in and drive or just let the computer decide how the interaction happens in the battle, right? Forcing the map or forcing the game to populate the map sometimes helps because there's weird things in some of the targets. Like there's the fields, the clouds, there's all sorts of weird wonky stuff. So most of the time, because in the past we found that if you don't go in and force the population, you get more damage for whatever reason. Either it calculates the edges of the fields wrong, or it calculates something different when you populate it as opposed to not populating it. And in this instance, something funky is going on again, and it would be this time to the benefit to not populate it, whereas in the past you generally wanted to populate it. And there's some targets that don't matter at all, like the 85 for the Skyfire on the map. I've gotten about the same damage either way. So on that one, I don't even bother. I just map auto that one as well. This one, I've gotten some very inconsistent results doing this as well. I've gotten anything from an hour and 10 minutes of damage to 9 seconds of damage. It's the strangest thing. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, and I've also noticed that when you do it's sort of related, but when you do observe and don't touch anything as far as autoing the A sets, well, like the 83 and the 80, sometimes they'll take different paths than they did. And that part's a little bit weird that, okay, normally it goes this way, that way. And sometimes even on auto, it's taking a completely different path than what it was previously. So that part I don't understand either.
There's a really weird occurrence that happens in the S target. And I don't have an actual picture I can bring up to show you, but so as you come in, you hit the first island off to the left, you go down, and there's this little U-shaped bend that goes to the end target that ends to the right and up a little bit on the side. And in the middle of that U-shaped bend, you've killed everything. You should be going to the next corner there. And for some reason, the fleet stops and tries to turn around for a half a second and then continues on the path that it's supposed to. And I have no idea what it is stopping to turn to target because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
That's the 83, right? That's in the 83, right?
That's the S target. That's the S target.
Okay.
It does it in 83 also.
Does it? Okay. Because there's also, when you start in the S target, there's your fleet starts and there's those little down arrows saying that you're in a field. And for some reason, I found that if you leave and come back in, particularly if your fleet dies completely, that field goes away sometimes. I'm not sure what the field is. It looks like it's a slowdown field because my bucks are awful fast and they don't go fast at all. So I don't know. There's a lot of weird things.
Yeah, I don't like that. I didn't like that placement of the debuff generator in that target where it's all the way at the back. The Intel lab are you talking about the S set?
Yeah,
with the debuff. Yeah, because there's that intel lab that's all the way at the back. And so yeah, you can't. It's at least doing slowdown, but we don't know what else it's doing.
Oh, I haven't even seen that.
Yeah. If you look at that target, all the way at the back, there's an intel lab sitting there with this icon on top of it. And once you kill that, the debuff arrow goes away. But the way it's situated and the position it's situated in, it's not very strategic. And I think Mike tried to bunker bust it, and that didn't work at all.
You can't touch it. They might as well just debuff the whole target because it just lasts for the whole target.
I don't even know what the hell it is. I'm gonna have to try and look next time.
Lower right hand corner.
Yeah, if you wanna open up one, and I can put you on present, and I'll show you which one. I'll show you what I'm talking about if you want to. Or unless Grimace is showing us. I don't know what Grimace is showing us.
No, that's where my Hydras were doing the funky dancing that they were doing, where they just go wherever they want.
Okay, this is in the 100. Okay, this is in the old.
Let me start it over again. That's in the old target, yeah, but it does it in the 80s also. And I sent in a ticket on it, and they said they're aware of it, but they don't really know why it's doing that. So right here, it'll start going just wherever it wants to go.
Oh, that drives me nuts. That happens in a bunch of targets that I've tried. I mean, not just
I try to bring them back together.
I'm talking about like map targets and stuff, which it just
Well, this is some map targets. This is the 100, right? This is the old.
Yeah, this is the old Hydra layer or whatever. So I start them again, and it splits apart, and then
that was happening.
And try it again.
Yeah, I've always thought it's stuff that we can't, because I saw that in the skirmish cycle in one of the S sets where things would just split apart.
Like you bring them together, they should be going to the nearest target, right? So I pull them together like that. They should both go to the same spot, but they don't. They're still splitting apart.
Yeah, it's almost like there's something underwater that's like pushing them apart. Yeah, because I saw that on the skirmish targets as well, where they would just all of a sudden they're in the middle of the water, just going down the center of the channel, and all of a sudden your Fangtooth would split. Yeah, I'm not
and
sure.
See, I was having this raid with the Buckies, but I haven't had that problem this raid with the Buckies at all. So I don't know what the change is, or if they fixed it in the Hydra targets.
George, did you are you in a one of the Bucky asset targets?
No, my bucks are healing from earlier testing.
Okay, all right.
Hang on, I'll hop into one if you want.
Okay, sure.
I'll do it if you can retreat from it. I think you can.
All right. Put it on toxic, and you can. I'll show you where the debuff generator is.
Now, I've not done one of these, so I've got no idea what I'm doing there. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can just stop.
Just stop. Yeah, just stop and move it to wherever they.
Yeah, and scroll down.
Way down lower right hand corner.
Way down. Keep on going.
That's a
start. All right, see,
down.
right here. Okay, on the right hand side, just above where it says Buccaneer, see the exclamation point on that Intel lab?
Yeah.
That's creating a. Once you kill that, it will get rid of the debuff on your ships.
Interesting.
But if you trace it back, the only thing that you can't kill before that, or you don't have to kill to get there, is that little cluster of 4 turrets on the right hand side. So strategically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, if you try to sneak by all this stuff, I think you're gonna take a significant amount of damage just trying to sneak by it, kill this thing, and then come back. So
I
yeah, the
know
little
I'm
debuff.
kind of
Go ahead, Grimace.
You
sorry.
can't do it.
I was gonna say I'm kind of late to the party, so I don't know what you guys have really talked about. But did you mention that people that had equipped the tactical insulator or shielded tactical system were noticing that it was affecting?
They're going faster, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We
it's a
hadn't
bit silly.
mentioned that today, but yeah, it's and we didn't mention we did mention we don't know what this debuff thing is, because you'll see down arrows on his ships, but we don't know exactly what's going on besides the combat speed. What's going on, because you can tell with tactical insulator, people have the STS or the tactical insulator, are if one ship has it on, they're going faster than the rest of them.
Yeah.
But we don't know what else is going on there. Is it, damage resistance debuffs, or we don't know the rest of it.
Oh,
And
hey, look. So you see on the left there, that little emitter that's on the land? No, up to the left, all the way to the left. Left. No, you're there. You don't got to move it. It's right on the right where the arrows. I've had weird things have happened in that one too, because I've had a drone or two get stuck in that corner. Oh, he's got a drone stuck there too.
It's a drone, yeah.
There's a drone stuck there, and there's an emitter. There's two emitters actually on his.
Yeah, that's one here.
That drone
I
is
haven't
just
seen that
floating
one.
above the landing pad like they do.
Yeah, he's just hanging out.
They go out.
Yeah, but if you
They go
watch
out
it, if you watch it when it first starts, that's stuck there. It hasn't dropped anything, or on mine it hasn't dropped anything. It might have dropped that other one that has the little shield thing. I don't know. Some weird things happen with this.
Yeah, it's just over there. This one stuck, or a little buoy or whatever you want to call it. On land, yeah.
Yeah, weird things happen in these targets.
Yeah, so, but like I'm saying, that's the source. That exclamation point Intel Lab, all the way at the bottom, is the source of the debuff. So if you kill that, it goes away.
But isn't it silly? It's the last building you're basically going to kill, so you don't need that thing to go away. It should be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, or there's some back way to get to it. But yeah, there's no real way to sneak in and kill that first. So it's strategic, and you can't kill it with a bunker buster. So yeah, strategically, it doesn't make a lot of sense in a strategy game, because you can't sneak around to the left and miss stuff. So it's I think they sort of missed the point with that whole thing. So I mean, I guess you could avoid that. I don't know. Yeah, the only part that is that group of 4 there on the right middle on the screen. That's the only ones I can think of that you can avoid and kill this, and then go kill them. Maybe potentially if you go in on the far left, you can avoid that cluster above it. I don't know.
With these landing pads or whatever you want to call these things down where the drones come from, like in the A sets, if you hit certain turrets, that kills the landing pad for the drones, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering if there is a turret or a building or something, or around on the map somewhere that does kill that, or does it stay till the end every time?
I think it stays there, Toxic. I've tried that target twice, and both times I had no luck until I got to it to kill it myself.
Okay.
But that's just, a couple of attempts. I don't know, there might be some pattern or something, but.
George, you've hit it 71 times.
I've autoed it almost every single time. I think I've driven twice. But now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if you come down that right-hand side, hug around the turn, and then loop back to do the outside.
How do you get to, I don't think you can get to the right, can you? There's no path.
Sure, if you come down, if you hit the 2 islands, you come to the right, all the way to the right, hit that. Yeah, that one. And then you come and just hug that inside corner all the way around. So you make like a big loop
I thought you
all
meant
around. Now I don't know that I want to spend that
rockets.
much. Yeah, I don't know that I want to spend that much time to maybe save what, like 2 minutes on the thing. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but
But
it
we
would be an
don't-
interesting thing to experiment with because we don't know what it's doing. We don't
Yeah,
know
well,
what.
I'll leave that to somebody else because I've done way too much experiment in this raid.
Okay. So, alrighty. I guess we're done with this target.
All good.
So thank you for screen sharing there, Toxic.
That's all right. Not a problem.
It's raid related, and somebody mentioned something. I don't know if they fixed it yet. Because somebody currently the SSKP cannot be equipped at the same time as the thermobaric casing 4.
Yep.
But that's going to be fixed in the next update.
I'm hoping yes. I don't think it
well,
was intended. I'm not sure.
No, I talked to one of the GDs, and they said that I was like, I showed him, and I'm like, no, I can put it on. When I'm like, are you in the live environment? Oh, it works for me. Yeah, it's on the list to be updated. So I would. It does appear that something that was an oversight.
I just got a message from someone that had heard the whole on the map autoing without going in, and he was like, I was really pissed because the first battle I took an hour and 32 minutes of damage, but then the second battle I took 11 minutes of damage. I was like, yeah, consistency, right?
Yeah.
Well, was that with like Bucky's and a boon?
Yeah, full Bucky build
So
with a steelheads
Would that not be that first time he went out? He was taking a lot of damage, and probably all of his Buckies got down to 75%. And then the next one he hit, it was just taking damage off of the boon.
Yeah, that's what it should do. Yes. But
Yeah,
the thing
so
is,
that's,
as that goes on, because I have a data set of 30 hits, and as it goes on, it still becomes very, very wonky. I've run the gamut from 50 minutes on a hit to 9 seconds on a hit.
I noticed one hit today where I took a lot of damage compared to the rest of the hits, but all the rest I've just been autoing, and I mean it seems pretty consistent for me, but I guess everybody has a different experience with this game.
Well, this one is specific to autoing on the map autos, so not populating the battle map at all. His next one is 10 minutes of damage. This is interesting. And he's running. See, the thing is, the difference. I was wondering if it had something to do with the specials of the way that the hulls were equipped, and he's running the CL3 build, where I was running the LA3 build. So it's very, yeah. This is interesting. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but it's definitely different. Usually, it runs the other way, where you want to populate the map. This time, it's running opposite, where it seems to run better if you don't populate the map. And add to that weird wonkiness where if the very first hit seems to be much different than the second hit on the target. If you stay in map repair and then hit the target again, you get significantly less than the very first target that you hit.
Did we lose? Yeah, we lost that here again.
Mine's like consistently double the damage that I was getting now. Consistent.
I'm not noticing that at all. And you were saying that, what, last night?
Yep.
Grimace, when did you start? Yeah, when did you start your raid? Because I know in Alpha, when I started, the very first hit was probably within the first 5 or 10 minutes of the raid. I happened to actually
same here.
be in from the shop, and the very first one was like 43, 45 minutes of damage or something like that, and it had remained consistent for the first several hours until sometime in the afternoon, in late afternoon my time, and it went up to an average. The average went up about 10 minutes a hit.
So, but you're hitting the S target, right?
Yes.
See, I'm autoing the 80s.
Yeah. Well, this
maybe
whole
that's the
discussion,
difference.
the whole discussion about the autoing off of the on map or going into populate was about the S target. I don't know that there's a difference for the A sets.
Well, I just done that target, that S target I jumped in. My boons are all at 75%, and my back the boon was at, I think it had 30 something minutes damage left on it, and by the time I finished autoing it, I didn't touch anything. The boon was dead. So
And
yeah,
is your build one of the LA3 builds, or is it the CL3 build?
it's a CL3 build.
You cut out there. What is it?
It's the CL3.
Yeah.
I normally do all the 80s, so this is the first S set I've done.
Yeah, and I mean, I think everybody's kind of noticed that the S targets lean more towards ballistic for the most part. I mean, most people are seeing that at least.
If you're doing the S set, you need the LA3 on that. I mean, that's what worked last month, and it's what it is this month too.
And mine are optimized for the AD, so I just stuck with them.
Yeah, Ren actually helped me test with the S targets because he still had his build as with the CL3, and we noticed a big difference when going into the S. And it works the other way too. If I go into the A sets, he does much better than I do in the A sets. So just that's just one of those wonky things I'm not all that thrilled about, because if you're going from the A sets and then you want to do the S set, you're going to have to refit that special.
Yeah, and what happens with the TLCs? Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a question too.
Yeah, in the raid, it's not that critical. I mean, it'll be a 1 coin repair, you know. But yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit last night. I mean, it seems the ones that you're taking a lot of damage on, as far as the TLCs, are going to be the later ones, the S targets. And so, because Lady Cat's asking which one to use.
I was about to say that the ones that because we're not at halftime repair when we get them as TLCs. So you want to, I'll take the damage in the first couple, I'll take a little bit more damage there, and I'd rather have my stuff set up for the latter targets that are going to really hurt me.
But what happens when it becomes base parts? Yeah, there's all.
I'll be hitting the top. I'll be hitting the top one, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just a bad precedent in my mind to have this, building basically you need 2 fleets of Buccaneers if you're going to use Buccaneers, or do you use was the map target intended for the Hydra, and that's why it's that way? I don't know. Build your Hydras for rad damage and build your but yeah, they can't even. I mean, are they going to keep on doing that? I mean, after GDR's new PvE statement on the forums, are they going to still hold us to these using both hulls and upcoming TLCs and map targets and whatnot, or have they?
Well,
are they going to figure things out?
It looks like he's saying there's only going to be one target anyway.
Well, in the future,
right?
But I'm saying with this one,
Well, this particular one, I think this is the last one that from the old regime.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, is their thought process, we're going to make it so you don't need both of them to do the TLCs or the map targets or whatnot? Are we going to somehow bring these all together so that it doesn't impact the game for a year with having these TLCs and map targets out there that require both? Or have they woken up and like, okay, we need to figure out a way to fix this for
Well,
the
I
next
think
year based on the siege cycle and the ramifications the siege cycle has afterwards.
I'm going to presume the mold has already been cast. You know, we've already got the things, the targets already made. I don't think they're going to go out of their way to make new targets just to accommodate that, because then how are you going to make it to the point where you have something that works in both the Hydra and with the Bucky without, you know what I mean? I think
Unless they make
it's
two
just
different
too late.
TLCs or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Or take some of the ballistic damage out of the, out of the Buccaneer targets. So
I don't know.
I don't know. But I see you found a use for the radioactive resistors.
I'm sorry?
I see you found a use for the radioactive resistors.
It seemed like the logical place to put them.
Yeah, okay. And
Work
yeah,
well.
because I've read other places that they're working well for people, as opposed to using speed systems.
I mean, it works well with the LA3 build because it just, I mean, it fits that way, you know. I don't know if I was running CL3, I don't know that I would have bothered with them.
I saw someone say that they refitted all their Buckies with those, but then they left their boon with the Speed System 6 so that it always stayed a little bit out front, and it seemed to help their repair because the boon was taking
all the damage. Yeah,
all the damage.
I don't know if they're autoing though. I think they're driving, because if you auto, it's not going to really matter because you're going to still pile up, and then the area of effect stuff is still going to hit you as an area of effect. So.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So I kind of took it as they were autoing, and so it was driving in front of the other ships as it's approaching, so it was taking the shots as it's coming up, and then it just, it's wiping out turrets once it gets into range. That's kind of how I took
it. Let's see. Rum's joined us. How's your raid going, Rum?
Not too bad. Haven't done much today, but 70 million points yesterday.
Okay. Wait, did you fix the problem that you were having yesterday?
What's that?
Being salty?
The only problem to fix that's a margarita, buddy.
Oh, that was great.
So what's going on?
We're waiting for you to tell us how your raid went.
I did. I said I got 70 million yesterday. I haven't done anything today.
All right. And what have you found? What have you seen? What have you noticed? What are you hitting?
I freaking hate this raid. I'm driving Hydras and Buckies in the S sets, and the points payout is nice, but it's just boring as hell.
And this, my friends, is why I'm a lazy pirate and I auto everything.
Well, yeah, I understand. That magic missile that you're talking about, was that in the Hydra target, or was that in the Bucky target?
The one that I noticed was in the Buccaneer S. My Hydras are not even close to being, like, I don't even have one completed yet, so.
The same missile is in the Hydras.
That's the Inferno one, I think.
The what?
Isn't it called the Inferno missile or something? It's
not
I
don't know.
Of 8. It's a single one, right?
Yeah, I think it's a single one. Yeah, and it does a hell of a lot of damage.
Yeah, and it's hard to countermeasure.
Well, you can't counter it. Yeah, every time I go in there,
it's like 70%.
Yeah, well, it's go ahead.
Well, it's said that it has flak evade, so you're talking about 70%. Which one are we talking about? The multi-miss, the rocket? We can just call it the rocket if nobody from Kickstarter is listening.
I sent you with the actual name of it.
The damn missile one. Who gives a shit?
It's the damn missile one. It's not the group of 8. It's a single one that looks like
the big fat one, the fatty. Yeah,
the fat rocket missile turd crap thing that pisses underneath your boat. It gives you all kind of.
Put it back up a little so I what he saw.
We'll call it the herpes missile. How's that?
The herpes missile.
Okay.
Herpes. Or is it, which one is the one that's supposed to burn? Is it gonorrhea, herpes? I
Oh,
don't
I
know
don't
my
know.
STDs.
Well,
Who's
you've had
familiar
them all.
no.
familiar with the STDs? That would be Jeff. Jeff, let us know here. Which one are we doing?
I don't know. I think
It's
they all make
herpes.
it burn when you pee.
Do they?
But yeah, I don't
Herpes?
know.
Who said herpes?
Herpes.
Herpes is on the outside.
Wow, what is that?
I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Yes.
That was supposed to be a good joke, and I don't even know my STDs enough to make it a fucking funny joke. Christ's sakes.
All right, Grimace, that's enough.
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah, keep going, Grimace. Well, I'll show you salty, buddy.
You in a better mood than you were yesterday, Rum?
Of course I am.
All right.
I
Rum's
haven't
always
started
in a
picking
good
on you yet. I'm always in a great mood. I just get pissed at Kickside.
Mhm. Yeah, Northman's asking, is there many players taking part in the event?
That's a good question.
I don't know if I'm just doing better, but I'm usually like at the 3,000 globally because my level of effort. I don't think I've changed my level of effort that much, but I think I'm in the top 1,000. So yeah,
Moving on up.
Want me to check?
yeah, I'm at 7. I'm in the top. I'm in the 700s as far as participation, as far as points go. So I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I mean, there is a guy that he was first, now he's second. He's an 89 in my sector. That I'm not really sure what he's doing, but he's got 556 million, and he's hitting the new S set with Bucky's, and I guess just climbing it. I don't know. I watched him hit it once. It wasn't anything special. So he's not blitzing it. He's hitting targets.
Well, he may have blitzed a few times.
Yeah, maybe. But to get to 556,
I've got 4 hours or 5 hours in, and I've got 87 million points. So that's how I'm doing.
0 points get you to 26,000th place.
Okay, 26,000. Okay. Do we have any?
I can tell you what I am globally, but I'm not near 0 points.
Yeah. I'm just not sure where 0 points fits globally, historically.
Historically, by the end of the raid, I think the past few, I know like 3 or 4 months ago, it was like in the mid to 30,000s, but it's also just the first day or just the second day, so some people might not even started yet.
Yeah, I'm in the unusual situation where tomorrow I will have, unless they really change things, tomorrow I will have, early tomorrow, or if I stay up late tonight, I'll have all the points I can spend because I'm not buying Man of War shards and stuff like that. But at like at like 240, I'm gonna max out. I'm already at 180.
Make sure you get your Katie shards.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna build it.
Well, sure.
And, no, I'm not gonna build it. I'm not gonna.
It's a fun boat. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spend a month building something that I don't have that sort of time to build things like that. I don't know why they don't
have
make
the FM coming up and all that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't know why they don't make them easier to get, because it's like with the way that they're cramming up our shipyard, giving somebody something that requires a month-long build, it's going to force them to coin a month. At least the way I see it, or be behind elsewhere. So I don't know why they make it so easy to get some of these ships that are sort of, they have their uses, but it throws them off. Unless they want a coin a month, it's what. Let's say like 30 days times 48 coins. You know, they're going to make some money off of people that do that. So it's going to be, basically going to cost you $150 to build it. So, they made it easier to get. Maybe they might make more money off of that. I don't know, to be honest.
Cuttlefish has got the right answer. Those ships are traps to catch unwary players and divert them from the field strategy.
Yeah.
Rum, don't you have a Katie's?
No! Why would I have a Katie's?
He's got 2 Man of Wars.
I do.
Yes. He feels much better that way.
I do.
All right. Trying to think of anything else that we should be talking about. I mean, it just seems like the general this is the general strategy, at least as far as players that aren't going to be able to tweak their ships all the time, is just to auto the A sets, and it requires charged armors. It requires antis, and it requires time. But yes, it does require time. But it requires time like where you don't even have to pay attention. I mean, it's not strategic. It's just a matter of like clicking, and there you go, and then wait till it pops back up in 4 or 5 minutes. And as long as you have a build that's right for those A sets, you can keep on doing that. Or George, with what you're doing, have you actually ran the time of just repairing your boon and let everything go to 75%, hitting the assets with the Buccaneer?
It's an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half with the boon.
It's an hour and a half per target?
Oh, no, I haven't done that. No, I just run it until the boon needs to be repaired. And like when I lose the boon entirely, I think it's around an hour and a half, hour and 20, hour and a half, something like that.
Yeah, because I was just thinking of an experiment where you go and hit a target and you leave your regular Buccaneers at 75%. You heal your boon up to 100%, and then go hit auto the target again, and then figure out how much time it takes to repair the boon. You follow me?
Well, I mean, given how inconsistent the results have been, I mean, I think it's gonna vary anywhere from, like maybe 10, 15 minutes to 9 seconds. I mean, I think it depends.
Yeah, and that appears to be like that would be a valid strategy as well, because every time you keep on hitting them until they die, you're losing a percentage of your charge. So each time you hit a target, you're gonna die faster and faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to time it so you get about a half hour's worth of damage, and then you just throw a coin at it, or half hour. That's how I do it. Whenever it's that point, I'll coin one up.
I'm not sure. Like, logically, that should make sense, Jeff. But I think what the problem is especially with the build that I'm running, it's so heavy on the ballistic resistance, that I don't know that it really matters much when I run out of charge. Like, I should run out of charge after I go to. I'm trying to think. On a fresh hit, I think I have less than a third of my charge left. So when the rest of the fleet gets to a third damaged, where the boon would start kicking in, I should run out of charge by the end of the target every time. And I don't notice much of a difference. Like I said, I've had some very low repair times on some of the auto hits, and it's well past half repair time of the boon.
Yeah.
So I think it depends a lot on LA3 CL3 build. I think it really does depend heavily on your resistances at that point.
Yeah, and Cuttlefish is asking how many targets before your boon is dead. I think you said earlier was 4 to 10.
So if I start with a fresh fleet, and I throw on a crew, I've gotten between 10 and 12, I think one time. Yeah, 10 and 12. And then I would go in, repair just the boon, and come back out, and I've run between 4 and 10 that way before the boon is dead.
Okay. All right.
I mean, all in all, if you do have the boons built, or I don't know about the hydras, I really don't, but it's not a very expensive raid, I don't think, compared to what we did have. It's quite reasonable, I think. I don't know what you guys reckon, but that's my opinion.
Reasonable is a good word. The points values for the S targets are not bad.
I haven't spent a coin yet.
You suck.
Yeah, I accidentally spent one on a 6-minute repair because of that whole, that whole thing where it doesn't light up, and I accidentally clicked the wrong place. But yeah, so yeah, I spent 1 coin for a minute.
Give back to the community.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, we saw somebody that spent a 2-hour build token on a
2 days. 2 days now.
Yeah, 2 days on less than an hour. So yeah, these things happen.
I would have cried.
Yeah, but I mean, last raid when I had to do the 100 and whatever it is, 115 or 60 targets that I had to hit to get all my stuff to fix, to get my boons out. That was quite reasonable as well. Like, it was mostly repair on the map. So I don't know. I think they've got this right. I think if they keep going that way with the damage, I think they're on the right track there.
Okay. Leonard Skinner asks, "Is it even worth building the Hydra at this point?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to. You need to. Whether you need it for the raid that's one issue. Whether you need it for the things that are going to follow the raid, like the TLCs and whatnot, yeah, you're still going to need it. I mean, there's a lot of people been hinting that they may be changing their mind on the escalation weapon. Even though in the state of the game they said they're right before this raid cycle that there would be one. But at the same time they announced that there was going to be a 4-month raid cycle.
But it falls when they're giving us the FM fleet now, so yeah, they might not. That would be nice if they didn't. I didn't even think through that. Unless they do it in the very last month, and then what would be the point? Because the raid would be over.
Yeah, because I'm building my Hydras assuming there's going to be an escalation weapon at least. So I'm not putting weapons on them at this point. So just so I don't have to spend that time and then take them back off. But if they're not going to have one, I'd like to know sooner or later. What's going to go on with the escalation weapons.
Well, if they don't show up in this FM, you'll know.
Yeah, that's true. We should know very, very soon.
Risk it for a biscuit.
Risk it for a biscuit, I think is what I heard.
Is that what I heard?
That's what I think I heard. Yes.
Oh Lord, was that Corey?
Yes, yeah.
It was Corey, wasn't it?
Yeah. All right. Does anybody have anything else much to say, or shall we proceed to the after show, or Corey has any other words of wisdom?
Let me ask. Overall, given the last couple raid sets, how y'all actually finding it? Like, is it better than it's been, or is it like same old same, or is it like stepping in the right direction, or is it a big pile of steaming shit?
Define your question. What's going on in this raid relative
to the last couple of raid sets?
the raid sets, because I think the
Yes.
first part of this raid cycle was
a
not good.
fucking mess. Yeah, that was an unmitigated disaster. I'm skipping
Or-
last raid. I'm just saying this raid going forward, given what the last couple of raid sets have been like, and I guess what last month was like. How y'all feeling about it?
Personally, I think it's a little boring. I guess it's like almost all the raids. Once you kind of know what to do, it's just the same over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Aside from the random spurts of damage that people get, but basically the pathing is the same. And I mean, I'm autoing, but still, it's kind of boring.
I mean,
I like all these ship-specific kind of targets where you need a different build for different targets. I don't like that.
I will say it's kind of cool that they gave us the TLC where people could get the Buckies, and so some of those people already got some ships out and they're hitting like the 60 level targets, and it kind of gave them hope where there was none before. Because now they see that next raid they'll be doing even better, and then the next raid hopefully even better. So that's kind of cool.
I mean, I do like that they had that $9.99 deal for the Hydra tech, and that they did the Bucky campaign. What I really like, and I didn't realize it until I was actually doing some very odd testing, was that with the Hunter, as the raid season progressed, they were tweaking some very odd things in each target, and it was requiring, like, I mean, I build, I try and build like to a really weird optimal level. I was doing a bunch of different refits, trying to adjust to it. Whereas this one, I can actually use last month's fleet in this target without much tweaking at all, and that was like, holy crap, that's kind of neat. I actually really like that. I did like some of the other target. Like I went and hit one of those the 41 / what's supposed to be 45, whatever the hell it is. And other than finding that the hit down penalty was not applying, my ironclads walked the hell out of that target, and that includes some of the old ass ones that I haven't touched in a year.
Right.
So I like that for some people. I mean, they're gonna have to grind. I don't like the fact that they're not spawning as well as they probably should. I haven't hit the 60s to see anything, but I mean, overall, I'm seeing like I'm hearing a lot of good things about the A sets and the S targets. I mean, there are some wonkiness. There is some wonkiness going on, but then I'm also seeing some good opportunities to get some people back in, which is not something that I've seen much recently. Like 2017 was not a good year for returning pirates or new players, so I don't know. I'm holding my breath at this point, or breathing very shallowly to see what comes of this. But that's what I meant, was like trying to compare it to some of the last raid sets. Yeah, it's boring after you figure it out, but I also have the option to auto, which is one that I really like on raids, particularly these raids where I need so many fucking points.
Yeah, I mean, it is like last raid I had to babysit my Buckies because they would kind of go all over the place. And this raid they haven't been doing that, so I haven't really been babysitting them. And I would rather that be the case than have to go into every single target and watch and manage, where they're going and all that stuff. I mean, that was really not fun.
Yeah.
So yeah,
what about
I mean,
the rest of you guys? Go ahead, Grimace.
I was just gonna say it seems like it's heading in a more positive direction, so I'll give them that for sure.
All right. I just hope they continue.
Mine still seem to be doing that. They're going like one will turn left, the other one will turn right, then they'll come back together or try to come back together, and yeah, it doesn't really happen. And then one goes forward a bit and the other one stay back, and then they'll think, oh, there's something in my way. I have to be left and right, and then they get back together, and yeah, it's still there. Not really bad, but it's still there.
Yeah, I mean, like last raid though, like one ship or two ships sometimes would just completely drive in a completely different direction, you know, they wouldn't come back together at all. They just would go off. So, I mean, yeah, there's still some of that weird pathing or whatever, but it didn't seem to be as bad as it was last raid.
How about the rest of you guys? What you think?
I had to step away. What was the question?
How do you like this raid compared to the last couple of raid sets?
Oh, compared to the last one, it's cool. I don't mind it so much. I don't mind grinding. I don't mind driving the same target. The part I don't like, and I might have came through earlier or not, but that you need a different ship build to do the same kind of targets. I'd rather they escalate the difficulty rather than make you have to have different specials on the stupid ship to go into it.
That makes sense to me.
That's the problem I have with it. If it was just
Yeah,
harder, I'd be okay.
I agree with you, Mike.
Because my shipyard is full now. I can't have two Bucky builds, you know.
Well, you know, and I think we said this last month. The map targets, just like the last raid set, you know, the map targets, the A sets and everything were geared towards having fangs. I think it's the same thing with this. They geared towards Hydra. I think it's the skill hull is what they designed the map targets for, and then the auto has its own little doohickey target to hit.
Yeah, and it was interesting that they introduced the auto haul first, which I don't.
Yeah, never been a fan.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it.
Reality,
I'm kind of glad they did because that's the one that I'm using heavily. But at the same time,
I mean,
I
it
don't know if
seems to
that's
work better than the Hydra from what I've seen so far. I mean, last raid people were doing the S target with like 1 or 2 Hydras, where you needed pretty much a full or close to full fleet of Buckies. But the Buckies, once you get the full fleet, seem to just drive better, and they don't seem to be as
so they're the new Tide Seeker.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people don't have the Hydras, but the few people I've talked to that use them exclusively, they would rather have the Buckies.
You've been talking to Liam a lot?
No, and I think he's probably pretty proud of his Hydras since he paid so much for them.
Yeah, but he's just, he just doesn't come across as a Hydra driver to me. So, yeah, that's why.
But he would say that anyway because it would be buyer's remorse or whatever if he said, no, they're crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the point levels associated with the A sets, yeah, I couldn't sit around and meticulously drive these. I mean, because of the points that are required. Yeah, that's one of the. I guess that's probably part of what we. Is that part of what you wanted to talk about, George? Is just it's also the points that are being asked of us to get what we need to progress, as opposed to the interaction that we have with the targets.
I mean, I have an issue just in general with the points. I mean, part of that is the charged armor that at this point, I mean, everyone knows they're fucking required. I don't know why the price is that high. I don't know why they're in the locked store. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that shit. But yeah, the points required by a player now is, I mean, I'll tell you, if I was not able to auto the last, I don't know how many damn raids I've been autoing, I probably would have stopped playing by now. Because these raids are just fucking insane. I auto while I'm actually doing something else. I'm either doing paperwork or I'm watching a movie or I'm doing something. I would not, or a lot of times I'm autoing it off the phone from the shop, and I do that. And if I had to actually sit down and drive these targets, I probably would have quit by now.
Yeah, I
because
wouldn't have been.
The points requirement is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and I thought it was a cheap move to do what they did with the. I didn't like what they did this raid with the old ASET or the old asset target by putting them on the map and then basically splitting the points in half. That was not. It's not a viable target anymore, especially considering the time it takes to actually hit that target. It's much
I mean,
easier.
if
It's
they
much better
were
to hit
they
the
last,
ASETs.
yeah, what were they last time? They were a total of 3.5 million, right?
Yeah,
Is that what it
yeah.
was?
Or
So I mean, if you want,
I think there were 3 million. There are 3.5 now, but I think there were 3 million at that point. They
I
took
mean, if you
away
want
the
to if you want
bonus.
to depreciate it, then knock it down to like 225 or something. You know what I mean? Something that where it's still more than doing an A set because it is still an S target. It's just a month-old S target. But don't depreciate it halfway where it's not even worth going in and hitting.
Yeah, yeah. And make them hard to find.
Well, we won't talk about how the points dispersion and that was all jacked up either, right?
Well, I'm talking about the old S sets are
That's
hard.
what I'm talking. That's
Okay.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Did you happen to go in and hit one, or see someone hitting one and just leaving after a little bit?
No, I haven't even touched them.
Yeah, there was an issue. I don't even know if it's been fixed, but there was an issue at the beginning of the raid.
Oh, you
Hopefully
got a lot of
it's
points.
fixed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The points was just completely imbalanced with the where the points were and everything.
Oh, okay. All right.
Giving out billions again.
Mm-hmm. And I guess this is part of the show where we talk about chameleon builds.
The fuck are those?
What? I mean, they've done a very poor job of selling why you want to have these. Besides, going
for
out
expeditions, man. Yeah, that's the whole new thing, right? That's the rage. We all want to do those, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to spend a month building an expedition fleet. Yeah. I mean,
what if it gave you like gold or something though?
To build them? Okay, yeah. Well, you build them. We'll give you 600 gold.
What if the expedition gave you gold?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, maybe.
I'm just
I can see people doing that, but yeah. And then I guess the other big issue besides the chameleon in the room is what does everybody see as the long term associated with the FM fleets that we're getting? The Dragon Inferno. Is the Dragon Inferno supposed to be 5 ships and a fleet?
Well, it'd be four as a flag.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's a flag. I mean, that's yeah.
But that's the issue I'm talking about. We don't know anything about the next one and how they're supposed to. Do they interact in any way? Because previously, with our PVE and our PvP, they've given us a promise that these, or they've not a promise, or whatever you want to call it. They've told us that these fleets are now going to be good for a year. And now you've created a situation where the FM fleets only appear to be good for 4 months. And they may be cheap as far as the actual haul, but once you start putting it together, it's like a 17-day build time. And so maybe it takes the place of the second PvE haul, but it's still...
it's kind of replacing one thing for the other. Instead of 2 raid fleets, now you're going to need to build the multiple FM fleets as we go.
Yeah, if that's the way it's supposed to work, but we don't know what the next FM fleet or FM hull is going to look like. And are we supposed to? Are they all working together like the Rivals series, where they're all supposed to? I'm not saying that they're not going to have.
Well, in the state of the game, it kind of sounded like they were differentiating between all 3 fleets. So I don't think there's going to be crossover that way. What I do worry about though is that does this mean that we're going to have to build those fleets every 4 months? because that's not going to be a cool thing.
That's what I take from it, is every 4 months you're building a new fleet. So they're replacing the second raid fleet with a FM fleet.
Yeah, so that's what it sounded like to me too, and I don't like that.
Yeah, don't we have the CICs that you can change and swap out? So maybe there's a CIC coming out that'll give it a different a ballistic swing or a
well, they've already told us there's
swing.
going to be 3 fleets a year.
Okay, I didn't read that.
Yeah, well, no, not 3 fleets, 3 hulls.
3 hulls, yes. I'm sorry, but they also differentiated those hulls too. So I'm assuming 3 fleets.
Yeah, and that's what I want clarification on, because at that point in time we were still getting two fleets or two hulls in order to do the raid, and now we need additional clarification, at least as far as I'm concerned, as far as do we build a whole fleet? Is this a replacement? What's going on there? Because if we're building a fleet for the FM that's only supposed to be really high end for 4 months, and it takes us. Somebody want to do the math of 17 times 5?
85.
Okay, there we go. All right, and so it's not really that viable unless you want to coin it. I mean, that's if it takes you 3 months to build
tokens.
Yeah, well, you're getting ship build tokens also for the regular raid cycle PvE stuff, but it's taking you 3 months to build it.
They might give tokens in the FM, like what they did in Xenos.
Yeah, we don't know a lot of stuff as far as the path forward. That's all I'm saying. The path forward on that is murky in my mind. I don't have a complete understanding of what's going on there as far as Lady Cat said she's building 4 blanks for VXP, and then she's signing herself up for a couple of months to build those out.
Yep, I am too. That's the same plan I got. The problem that I have is that, what they told us was that, what did he say? That the 115, there's going to be a transition period and the 115s are going to go? Is that what it was? Is that what they had said?
No, they're not going to go. I don't think they're going to go. They're just going to be less valuable. You're not going to get any as many points relative, because they're probably going to keep the points the same. They're just going to escalate the cost to get the FM stuff relative to the cost of a consistent 115. But they weren't. I don't think they were terribly clear on that. But I mean, I'm not completely certain on that. But that's the impression I was left with. That eventually, at some point,
I gotta go and check both of these now, because I remember in the state of the game, they had said that each time the new garrison cycle is going to go, the new target's going to be tuned for the new hull.
Yeah, as far as efficiency, whatever efficiency means. Does that mean repair time to hit the target? I don't know what efficiency means, or it's a combination of the two.
I would assume time to finish the FM. I mean, that's the thing that we're all bitching about, because it's a pain in the fucking ass right now.
Yeah, and that's actually time playing and time repairing. So yeah, which one is going to be? Is it going to be a combination of those two, or?
Yeah. See, okay, so this is where I have an issue in the Garrison Forsaken mission post. It says, looking towards the garrison target themselves, old targets are not going to disappear immediately. That speaks to me as though they're going to disappear, just not right away. There's going to be a transition time.
Yeah, they also said the same thing with the 111s.
No, that's true too.
Yeah. I mean, they're just giving me the option to remove them at some point. I mean, maybe when they come out, they'll drop the 111. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the 111 is still around, because it's more of a pain in the ass.
I don't know about this 3 time a year thing is not twice a year I could maybe see, but 3 times a year, yeah, not so much.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The only way it makes sense is if there's a synergy. If there is like, okay, they give us this one that's going to work with, you work it with the Zealous at this
Okay,
point. You
now
use the
see,
Zealous.
hold on. You're starting with a false premise here because this was started in the 2017 era, right? Because this is what I'm going to call it now, is the 2017 era, because that's the shit era. There is nothing that made sense that happened that year. Okay, to think that they are actually going to think that there's some sort of synergy between the three hulls that are coming out that they planned for, I am not giving them that much credit from that entire 2017 regime. I'm sorry. Going forward, maybe it might change. I don't know what the plan is, and given how much info they're starting to put out, I'm hoping that maybe Raken will come out and tell us, because it's kind of important. But to think, like, I know the way I read the state of the game was that it's going to be 3 cycles, and each cycle is going to come out and be tuned to that new hull, which I read in between the lines, requiring to build that new hull. Now, if someone's gotten to the point or gotten into a position where they can do something and they understand that the players do not like that idea and think that it's a complete bunch of shit, and that's the FM is a fucking pain in the ass chore right now, that might change, and I would hope that it would change. I don't know that we've heard or seen anything though. So right now, I'm gonna expect I'm gonna expect the worst for now until I see otherwise.
Yeah, right now I'm building 2 of them. I'm building 2 of the new ship because it seems perfectly suited with the extended range, because it's got longer range than any of the other PvE ships, and the structure deflections and whatnot. It just comes across as a spotter tank that might work with the other stuff that's going to come out. I mean, that's just looking at the blueprint and trying to figure out. It's positioned itself to be very good for other ships to work around it, because it sort of looks like either a blitz fleet or a specialist to take on that role.
That looks like a flat out blitzer to me.
Yeah. But it's a blitzer with really long range. It's the longest range, so it looks like a spotter to me.
Yeah, see, that just makes me worry about the targets, not thinking to use it as a spotter. I mean, you can still get a better range with missiles on it, right?
No.
Oh my, that'll be interesting.
No, because you get like 105 range on the rockets. So yeah, it's I look at it as the frontline spotter tank, whatnot.
But look at all the changes they made to the game, like right now, all the things that they've bettered. I mean, they can only do so many projects at the same time. So maybe that they just left that alone for now, and they'll change it a little bit later on down the track, when the other problems that we had are fully figured out. That's how I see it. That they just don't want to have 10 projects at the same time, and then not getting any of them done properly or whatnot. So fix one, then do another.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
I've liked what I've been hearing coming out. I just, if they can execute on what they're planning, awesome. It's going to be a great year. If they can't, or if they mess it up, I don't know. I mean, I still think it'll be better than last year.
I'm hoping. I hope everything works really well. But we were also told that the new PvP stuff, we're going to get rid of swings in the game, and that was immediately followed by one of the largest swings in the game ever as far as PvP. So it's there's the message of what they want to do and what they're actually doing don't always seem to work together.
Yeah, and I had an issue with that massive swing. Like, I don't know that they needed to do that big of a swing. I mean, I understand, part of me understands that, yeah, they wanted to kind of do a reset on PvP again, and that's only because they messed up 2017. And do we need that hard of a reset? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think we did. But maybe it's something like I don't know what's coming out. Maybe it's something that's planned for the entire year already, and they had to start somewhere. I don't know. I wasn't thrilled. I mean, I had fun. I walk in all sorts of crazy bases, but at the same time, I'm also getting flattened every other day. So which one is it? I mean, I know Rum still here? Did he go? I mean, he was frustrated as hell at one point. And, it's understandable because one day your base is great and the next day it's like, oh, hey, look, click to the back of the base. Now, is it necessary? I have no idea. I just know that it didn't sit well with people. We'll find out, I guess, how well this new missile works and whether or not it's a incremental step or if it's another swing. We'll see.
Okay. Well, does anybody have anything else to say before we proceed to the after show?
Yeah, one thing I wish they would make the generalists again. That a generalist should be able to do anything. It should be able to participate in a raid target. It should be able to do the FM targets. It should be able to hit a base. It should be able to do everything. Being a generalist.
Oh yeah, they put some heavy hate on the Zelos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well,
I'm hoping that further down the line, maybe later in the year or in the middle of the year or whatnot, that the generalists are still going to be able to be used in the raids, in the FM, in the base hitting, in your chores, whatever you do, uranium, base parts or whatnot. I hope they're going that way. That's the only thing I sort of. I really like my Zelos.
Yeah, I love the Zelos. I mean, I do. But the thing is, I love it because of the duality, and I don't know that we're gonna ever see the duality put on another hull again. I mean, that thing fucked up everything,
Awesome.
and it that's why the FM was so hard to balance, is because it was a broken mechanic, and they couldn't fix it, and it is what it is now. It's reminiscent of the Punisher. Remember how hard of a time they had dealing with that because of the deflections on the Punisher? I mean, that hull lasted forever.
Yeah.
Frustrated the hell out of the developers because we were coming up with things to do with it that they never intended. Same with the Zealous. I mean, all sorts of stuff was done with the Zealous that I'm sure they didn't expect.
Yeah, and they still have and they seem to be aware of it because the duality seems to work different in different targets and whatnot. So yeah. So, alrighty. Well, I posted the link on the right-hand side in case anybody would like to join us for the after show. And hope everybody has a great raid, and we'll see you on Wednesday. And the other thing I wanted to mention, everybody, the new turd armor, it's in the lock store, but you gotta scroll down to find it. And that 500,000 armor points is worth having. It's just difficult to find.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. But it's difficult to find because if you go to the lock store, there's a scroll down button on the right-hand side. So I would recommend you pick it up.
You know what else? It's a D5X, which when I looked at it, I said I already have D5X, so I don't need it again. Dude.
No,
Yeah, it looks like a ship armor. It does look like a ship armor.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend picking it up. So, alrighty. See everybody on Wednesday, and have a good raid, everybody. And I will post I'm posting the link for one last time if you want to join the after show. And
have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for showing up.
One more thing, Hefe.
Later, everyone.
Okay, go ahead.
The Executioner 2, you will definitely need a level 9 turret to fit it. It will not fit at level 8.
Yeah, that's true. It does have like 25% more power consumption than anything we've seen, or 23% more power consumption anything
so
else we've done
don't.
before. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and thanks for showing up on the panel and in chat. And see you all guys on Wednesday.